Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2020 Buick Enclave, we're going to be checking out the Kuat NV 2.0 platform style bike rack. First impressions of the rack on the back of the Buick, I think it looks really good. Kuat makes very high quality stuff, very well built, and you know, that's important. I feel like especially on a vehicle like the Buick, more high-end luxury, you know, you don't want something that looks cheap and chintzy back here, and this is far from that, so about as good as it can get there. One of my favorite things about this particular rack is it's more or less kind of customizable, and you can grow into it if you need to. So what I mean, this particular rack can hold up to 2 bikes, but there's also 4 bike versions available, so if you need to carry more, and then you can kind of go in between too. Let's say if you know you need at least 2 for now, you can get the 2 bike. If you end up needing to carry more, you can always get add-ons, which will give you more carrying capacity there in terms of how many bikes you can hold. And they're also available in a few different colors, so you can really kind of, you know, match up to your Buick's paint scheme or whatever one you like the best. So, you know, it really opens up your opportunities, and you can do a lot of different things with this particular setup. With all that said though, I do want to address probably one of the bigger questions that a lot of people are wondering, and that is, are you still going to be able to get into the back of your Buick with the rack in place? And with this one, the answer is yes, and it's actually really nice. Even with bikes loaded up, you can still fold this thing down, and that's not something you see with a lot of racks. You're just going to have to kind of pull this lever in and let it come down, and then that's going to give you the space you need, even with the bikes on, to get into the hatch. And especially with this bike, wide bars, big pedals, we're still going to have enough room, and we'll see if I can get this hatch open. It's kind of having some issues earlier, but you can see that it's going to clear without any issues, and you'll be able to get all the stuff you need in and out of the back. The way that the rack is going to hold your bikes down, really simple. You're going to have 2 different spots. You're going to have a strap on the back tire, and then a wheel hook, which will drive or force the front wheel down into the cradle, and it does a pretty good job actually. I mean, the bike's going to have movement, but it's not moving where it's attached to the rack, if that makes sense. And regardless of what platform style rack, you're going to get that. But since it does use a wheel hook here, you can use any type of bike really, particularly carbon bikes. You know, you really don't want to put anything on the frame. You know, with carbon bikes, you obviously don't want to put pressure on the frame, so this will be good setup for that. But why don't we go ahead and just get the bike off so we can have a better look at the rack itself. So at the back, you always want to start with the back here. You'll simply just get that strap out of the way, and then at the front we can undo the pressure there. So grab hold of your bike, because once you undo this, you don't want it to tip forward, obviously, hit your car, but push that in, swing this out of the way, and that'll give us the space we need to get the bike off and go do some riding. So once your bike is off, I do suggest just taking your hook here, folding it down, putting it back in. Make sure to latch the strap again, just to keep everything together. And something that you do need to think about whenever you have the rack on the back of your Enclave is the fact that it is going to extend the overall length of it. So to find out exactly how much, let's go from the hatch to the very edge. Looks like it's going to add about 32 inches. So something to think about, you know, if you got a small garage or try to squeeze into a tight parking spot. That said though, when you're not using the rack, it does fold up and becomes pretty compact. There will be the lever, same lever that we used to tilt it down, you can also use to tilt it up. And like this, it actually sits up pretty tight against the back of the Buick. And the furthest point will probably be down here. And in this position, I'll just measure from our bumper fascia there. Looks like it's only going to add about 15.5 inches. So with it like this, really shouldn't run into any issues, even if you do have a smaller garage or try to get into that tight spot. Something that is pretty neat, the rack actually has kind of a built-in workstation, if you will. So this arm that comes out here, you can actually open this lever up, pull this up, spin it in whatever direction you want, lock it in, and this will open up, and then you can put your bike in here and lock it down, and this will give you a good spot just to work on it. You know, maybe adjust a chain, change a tire, whatever. You know, it's just nice to get it up off the ground and give you a spot to work. So that's pretty cool. Thought that was nice. And this just folds right back in. Then we can move down here to where it actually connects to our trailer hitch. So this is going to work with the 2" by 2" receiver tube openings like we have here today on our Buick. And it's going to come with a locking pin and clip. So, you know, it's going to stay secure to your vehicle unless you have the key, obviously. You can undo the lock and be able to pull this out. And then if you follow this back all the way here to the knob, when you tighten this down, what it's going to do is act as an anti-rattle device, and that's going to eliminate any of that slop or play there in the connection point where you plug it into the hitch, so you won't hear it clunking around and everything else. So kind of give you an example of that. Say if you're going down the road hitting some bumps, you can see that this is going to move with our Buick and not on its own. Other than that though, a platform style bike rack you really can't go wrong with. You know, if you're looking for a high quality rack that's going to look good, operate as it should, and last a long time, this is definitely one to consider. If you're anything like me, now you always want to see the product you're interested in actually working or in action. So why don't we go ahead, load up some bikes, take this out on the test course and see how it does. This is our test course. Let's start with the slalom. This shows side-to-side action, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvering. Then, onto our alternating speed bumps. This shows twisting action, such as hitting curbs, potholes, road debris, or even uneven pavement. Last of all, the solid speed bumps. This shows up and down action, such as driving through a parking lot or parking garage, or driving in and out of a driveway. And that'll finish up our look at of the Kuat NV 2.0 platform style bike rack on our 2020 Buick Enclave.